Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Table Talk. I'm your host, Jake Combs, and tonight, as promised last time, we are going to be finishing up our Imperial ships from the Skies of Fire box set from Aeronautica Imperialis, and we're going to be looking at the December issue of White Dwarf. So, we're going to go ahead and start with that. So I even left this one sealed, so that way we wouldn't lose any of the cards beforehand. So the Christmas issue, one of my favorite things is that, they always like to include a lot of free items with it. And so this month is no different. Alright, so that looks like it's everything. So first off with the freebies, we have a code to get Brother Adremo in the combat card game for Warhammer 40k. Now I've actually played that game pretty regularly for a while, and I thought it was a lot of fun, but it also can be very distracting too. And so when you have paint deadlines, one more game sometimes can be a pain to keep on top of everything else. So I ended up getting rid of the game because of that, but it is a lot of fun. It's got some good mechanics as far as the fighting goes. So definitely worth checking out if you haven't already. And then probably during one of the future episodes, we'll probably end up giving this code away since I no longer play the game. And then we also have a Talisman Adventures. Looks like more kind of an ad insert. So basically it's talking about the Talisman Adventures fantasy role-playing game hardcover book, and goes into some of the details about that. Also, a 25% discount code, discount for a limited time until New Year's Eve on the Pegasus website. And then everything else we have is in this plastic sleeve. So first off in there we have this map. Looks like it's kind of a versus table between Gandalf and Saruman. And then the other side of it is a poster of this month's cover. Now, the thing that I'm most excited for out of these items is that we actually have a Warcry card for I can't remember his name. It's like Jacob Bugman's son, like the third or something like that. But you can actually use him with your Caradon Overlords. I did mention that briefly when we were actually going over the new faction books for Warcry. I was actually surprised that he wasn't included in that since they were released about the same time. We do have a new Tactics card for Necromunda, Ancient Vox Box. So basically this Vox Box, depending on what you roll, determines the effect. No fighter with an 18-inch may be the target of gang tactics or skills. All fighters within 12 inches must make a nerve test or are broken. So definitely some interesting effects there. Then we have the Ghost Relic Avenger Ace card to go with the Imperial cards. That ship is pretty much almost all white, and so when I actually do end up painting my Avengers, I'll end up doing one of them white as well for the Ghost. Then we have a Stratagem for Adeptus Titanicus, Venerable Machine Spirit. It's another Stratagem card. Then for Blood Bowl, we have a new Star Player card. This one is not found in the core game, but it's Acorn the Squirrel, and you could actually buy the model. It's a Treeman model that actually has the squirrel on him that you can use. So definitely very cool. Personally, that's one of the few models I did not absolutely love. But I'm also not a big Star Player user, so I doubt that we'll get to see much play in our Blood Bowl games, but never know. Might find a use for him eventually. Alright. So, open it up real quick. Get past. So, I actually really like this Gotrek that a fan has painted. So, if you're not aware, they usually have a contact section where people can reach out and share their thoughts about the magazine, about the hobby, and also share images of some of their painted models. And then we go into the Worlds of Warhammer section. So basically, it's giving information about the Age of Myth and how it came into be. So this is actually going to be really good reading then for somebody like myself who doesn't know a lot of what came after End Times. And most of the stuff that I read is either further in the future where it's not really a thing that they talk about, like the Warcry stuff, or still within the old world. So I haven't been well versed in the Age of Myth and what's kind of happened to the world since then. Then we go into Echoes from the Warp, and let's see. So their little information about what the section's about is that they're talking about something abstract. Now looking at the images, it looks like it's going to be more psyker related, but just skimming through some of the things that they're talking about, it looks more, it's kind of discussing more about just the hobby as a whole. But then we go into Flashpoint, which is a kind of like a mini campaign, specifically the Argovan system. Then we go into the Index Astartes, the chapter, the Tome Keepers. So this is where they're going in, basically created a White Dwarf faction for Space Marines, and basically giving you the history and the details about the company, or the chapter rather. And then they even have some new rules for some of the models as well in there. And then the painting section for how to paint that paint scheme. And then we have the index gallery. And then we go into a Warcry fiction section. Now, I was completely unaware of this. It's Jacob Bugmanson's tale. and he's basically on a quest to make the perfect pint. So I will definitely be reading this because I can not get enough of Warcry related fiction. I even actually got the new book for Christmas. It actually literally arrived this morning. And what's even great is if you lose your card, they actually have the card printed in the magazine. So you'll still be able to see it and use it. Then we go into a battle report for Age of Sigmar. It looks like we've got Skaven going against the Caradon Overlords. And then we go into Heroes of the Hinterlands, which is a new rule section for solo and cooperative play. So it's basically a way to play your own campaign by yourself. So that's definitely very cool, because I do know that some people, want to play the game, but either don't have access to stores locally that they can go to play, or doing, having people come over, especially because of COVID. So this is a way to get your game in, but not have to do it with anybody else. Alright, so now for the rules of engagement section, usually they're going into kind of deeper into some of the rules, but this month's is specifically in discussing semantics. So basically going into key terms and exactly what they mean, so that way there should be no confusion. Then we go into the Beastgrave Glory Point section, which I am surprised it's still listed as Beastgrave, having that Dire Chasm had just come out as well. And so the rules section is basically focused on helping you with when you're being hunted specifically, depending on the scenarios that you're playing. Then we go into the Middle Earth new rules section. So basically a Wizard's Duel, which I suspect is using that map we got. Literally turn the next page and they're using it. So yeah, that definitely covers that for you. Then we have a new rules section for Necromunda. These are specifically new hangers-on outlaw brutes. So you can use like the Ogren from Trader Command, or some of the other big beasties from like Kill Team, Rogue Trader, and things like that. And then we go into part 8 of 9 of Faith and Fire, which is a continuation of that fiction storyline that we've got going on. All right. And then from there we go to the Outside the Studio. So they talk a little bit more about the free stuff. Acorn himself is a special player. Now, the fact that he actually is sitting on his own base definitely makes me more curious about playing him now. So it might be worth actually getting a hold of either that model or a model squirrel to customize for, to play as a proxy of some sort. So definitely some cool stuff in there. Definitely worth picking up. I love the fact that we receive a copy every month, so we can keep up to date on all those different releases and things. Let's see. There we go. Okay. So where we left off is we basically have our sections all done except for the remaining Basilicum Gray. Let's see, just gotta find the right brush. There it is. Okay, so since we're gonna be covering a lot of surface area, not going to be as careful as usual, so we're just going to be basically slapping it all on there and covering it up as quickly as possible to finish these guys up. Starting with the next painting related episode, we will be starting on the bases, which I do have a recipe for already. Essentially, we're actually going to be painting those up instead of leaving them blank like some people do. And that even includes a radar screen as part of that base as well. Excuse me. And you just saw my cat Jinx go by. Also, next week, we are going to be unboxing the Skaven Stormfiends, which is going to be a first for us because I've actually been wanting those models for a couple years now, ever since Vermintide 2 came out, and I got to play that. And first time I fought a Stormfiend, it was actually the first time I'd ever seen one, or even heard that they were a thing. And so since then, I've definitely been wanting one. And thankfully this year, I got it for Christmas. In addition to that, we actually got a Underworld's Warband, the Godsworn Hunt. So we'll be unboxing that as well next week. And depending on time, we may get started on our radar bases. Now, one thing that's a little unusual for me is that this is actually the first time I've painted really anything in, I'd say, about 2 weeks. With the holidays, things definitely got very busy, and so I took a break from painting to help the family get everything ready for the holidays and then get things moving. Alright, so that first one is done. so that's 2 down. So, those that are watching, what kind of items do you currently have in your painting queue? Personally, I am actually going to be wrapping up some more Blackstone Fortress models myself for my personal collection. Specifically, I'll be doing the Zoat. Actually, I just finished the big spindle drones, whatever they're called. So those are done now. Just 2 more models left to go. couldn't tell by now, I am just a wee bit tired and keep almost falling asleep. But we are nearly done with this one, and then that will leave us just one more ship to do, and then we will call it a night after that. All right. Let's go and quick once over. Again, there's a couple spaces that I missed the first time through. Okay, so they are all done. All right, so we're gonna let that dry for a little while before we put it away. But that's it for tonight. Thank you guys for watching. Like I was saying, next week is gonna have some other unboxings. We might go ahead and get started on the radar bases as well. So definitely some things to look forward to. But I'll catch you guys till next week. Thanks for watching. Good night.